What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brad, joined by my co-hosts, Micah.
Hello.
And Carrie.
What's up?
Well, the news was light last week, and that's because they were saving all the shit for today. It's been quite a week in gaming news. None of it good. The first of which is probably the least surprising story that could have ever happened. In a year, or really a several week period where Square is shuttering many of its live service games, including the failed Babylon's Fall and Chocobo GP and
oh right, that was a thing.
Yeah,
Babylon's
and that Bravely
that
Default
was a game that came out, wasn't it?
It was. A couple days ago, Crystal Dynamics gave word that Square said to them, Avengers, disassemble, because the Avengers video game is ceasing development and is going, as many people have said, compared it to Anthem. I don't think that's fair. As disappointing as the Avengers video game was, it was multitudes more successful than Anthem was.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not get ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like it's fun to
It's fun to make jokes.
Yeah, it's a little bit of Schadenfreude, right? Like this was bound to happen.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you have your live service game, and the first thing you do with it after the game releases is to launch a character that uses a bow and arrow. That should have told you right then and there that this wasn't going to last.
No. So they're putting out the last update for the game on March 31st. There will be no new content or additions to the game after that, and support for the game will end completely on September 30th of this year, though they will keep the servers online so people will still be able to play the game. They're also going to be turning off the cosmetics marketplace, and they will convert all of the credits that people have purchased with real money into in-game currency so they can still do stuff with that if they please. Again, none of us are surprised. The fact that they made this a live service game from the get-go.
It never should have been.
Yeah.
It never should have been live service. Like, I feel like, developers saw the success of one game that did live service well, which was Destiny, and go, oh, we can do that. Not realizing that Destiny feels very much like a lightning in a bottle situation, and I don't even know that like a Destiny sequel could do it at the same level that Destiny 2 has been able to do.
Well, not only that, but Destiny everyone in the Destiny success story forgets that Destiny 1 also had a abysmal launch, and it took them a literal year to get the ship righted and to put out The Taken King, which is where people said the game really came alive. And Destiny 2, for as successful as that game has been, has
also kind of stumbled at launch.
It's had a lot of ups and downs, and it continues to have ups and downs, as such is the way of a live service game. Like, you can't, that's the thing when you go into this, is that everyone it seems like every company that tries to shoehorn like a live service into a game, especially games that don't actually need it, are like banking on everything breaking correctly for them. And basically they're like, if this hits perfectly, this is going to be great, and it's going to be super successful, and it's going to make a lot of money, not realizing that every live service game that has been a success has dealt with some sort of tumult that they've been able to work through because they had a long-term vision for the game, and that they also had a game that had a robust enough community that would be willing to come back to the game once they figured the stuff that was going on, which Avengers never had. Like, Avengers had a huge 3 weeks when it first came out, and then nothing. And it was completely dead after that.
Yeah.
As the only person that's played this game, I still am very satisfied with the actual combat, like the actual gameplay mechanics. Like, everyone feels good to play, which is surprising given that some of those characters are very different from one another.
Hmm.
So using a pretty standardized control scheme for two characters that can fly, one that uses, hand to hand combat along with ranged weaponry, one that's kind of exclusively ranged and like with stealth elements, and like it's pretty incredible that the game played the way it did. It was very satisfying, much like a jelly bean is satisfying, but like eating jelly beans day after day after day after day after day, the same flavor of jelly bean, money,
Uh,
Hmm.
day after day after day. That's not gonna that you get sick of it, and you
Yeah.
get sick of it really quick. What a waste of a hot IP. I cannot believe that this IP of the Avengers
right.
was just wasted on this game.
It was
Not only
such a
that,
fucking whiff of a game. Like they had it. Like they had it in the palm of their hands. They had the Avengers at a time where people were basically still sort of coming off the high of Infinity War and Endgame, and they absolutely could have done something really fucking cool and fun, and they were like, "Nope, live service." And people just weren't buying into it. And I have to like, I view live service looter shooters in the same way that I view MMOs. Like, people generally have time for like one of those kind of
hmm
games. They're not going to
and if
play
you're late,
multiple.
yeah, and if you're late to the party,
Too fucking bad. You better have something cool going on
right?
if you want to.
For every one Final Fantasy 14, there are
Well, I mean,
oodles and oodles
you
of,
also have
you know.
to, FF14 is a great example in so much that like fucking World of Warcraft was it.
Mhm.
And FF14 1.0 was not a good game because the initial development team did such a piss poor job trying to like take stuff from other things in the genre and make something out of it with, a similarly killer IP in the form of Final Fantasy. And to the point where they literally had to like blow up the game and start over with a Realm Reborn. And obviously, the folks at Square Enix were not going to do the same thing with an Avengers live service game that didn't seem to be going anywhere. Um, but yeah, it's just it blows my mind that Avengers was again like they put the ball on the tee when they got that IP, and
Mhm.
this like it's as if the kid like tripped over himself and fell down in the batter's box. Like it was right there.
I don't even know if I don't even know if that's an apt analogy. Like that's more like they hit a single when they should have when they had it teed up for a home run. Like the
Yeah.
game was playable.
Right.
It worked. You know what I mean?
It wasn't like a fucking piss poor garbage product. It
Right.
was just like mediocre and tedious enough that it wasn't going to get folks to jump on board with another live service game, particularly 2.5 years ago when it came out, when we were dealing with a glut of mediocre live service games. So
And Micah said, "What a waste of an IP. What a waste of a developer." I mean, this is Crystal
that too.
Dynamics.
Yeah.
This is these are the folks who known for Tomb Raider and who took the Tomb Raider franchise and resuscitated it and made it into something that stands, for my money, just maybe a smidge below Uncharted. Like it's got the gameplay, it just doesn't have the rest of it essentially. And then they throw them on this, which is a project that again seemed doomed to failure from the get go. I mean, when you're big, when you're like, hey, it's a live service game, and our big feature is no loot boxes, and that gets like a fucking standing ovation. Like
Right.
that's not very good. And again, like you had the blueprint for Destiny. Like you saw, like you got to see the entire Destiny, the entire Destiny 1 arc and the beginning of the Destiny 2 arc to see, hey, maybe these are the mistakes we should make. And yet every single time someone comes out with a live service game, the same mistakes somehow get made over and over again. And it's because they can't meet the deadlines that are imposed to get these games out on the floor. I'm sure Crystal Dynamics probably wouldn't have wanted to release the game in the state that it was in when it first launched, which had very minuscule amount of missions and repeatable tasks and things like that. But again, they had to get it out sometime. The game had already been delayed 6 months from its original release date, if you guys recall, because it was supposed to come out that spring, and it was just kind of in a bad way from there. So just a dumb project all around. And again, if you're a game company and you want to and you insist on making a live service game, then you need to develop the game from the ground up with that in mind. And again, observe what has worked and what has not worked from among your contemporaries in the industry, and stop making the same fucking mistakes over and over and over again. So,
yeah. Honestly,
if you've done like their marketplace was ridiculous. Okay, the marketplace at first you can only buy skins, which is fine. Technically skins don't like impact the gameplay. But their skins range from $7 to $15. $15
for a fucking cosmetic?
For one cosmetic skin.
Shut the fuck up. No.
And I mean, if you were to say, instead of claiming that, oh well, each hero is going to come out and they're going to be free. How about you charge folks, and maybe you can't because of, I don't know why you could. Well, no, you could because they put Spider-Man on certain. How about you charge folks for a hero, right? $15 for like the Black Panther expansion. It gave you new areas, a new hero, and a little bit of story. If you charge $15 for that, which feels like it's only worth 10, but if you charge $15 for that, and you charge $15 for Hawkeye, and you charge $15 for Kate Bishop, and you charge $15 for Winter Soldier, and I'm not even saying give those cosmetics away, lower the cost of the cosmetics to $5. I think this may have garnered them a little more money before it failed. It still would have failed, right? Because like the gameplay loop wasn't satisfying to keep you on, but I feel like they could have like gained a little more like cash. They could have fleeced you a little more before they left.
I agree with your approach if the game was a free to play game, but since they made you pay full retail for a box copy of this game, sorry, the characters can be included with that then. Like, you don't need to charge for DLC for a game that, again, if you're coming out and you're saying this is live service, then I'm expecting additional content to supplement the game. That's kind of like the price of my investment. And then if you want to make money on me, sure, you can charge me for skins. I agree. We've talked about it on the show before. The price for those skins, ludicrously high. You would like it. I don't understand why they want to charge $7 to $15 and they get the sales they get. Whereas if you charge a third of that for those skins, I would imagine, and maybe I'm wrong, they probably have analysts that look at this and I'm probably way off base, but I feel like if you charge the third of what they charge, like you charge like $2 for a basic skin and $5 for a premium skin, or however the fuck they analyze that, wouldn't you sell more than 3 times as many? Like, wouldn't you get more people bought in on that stuff if it becomes more of an impulse purchase? Look, and the money is more disposable?
I'm not a numbers guy, but I feel like you're correct about that.
Yeah, man. When you go to the supermarket, the impulse buys are like candy and bubble gum, right? It's not a fucking TV, right? Like, because you're not gonna spend that kind of money, man. The impulse buys at the grocery store are no more than $20, because I've been in Targets where they're like, buy a DVD while you're just standing here.
Right?
No, but at the same time, like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, just a sad state of affairs all around.
I think of how, excuse me, I think of how much like that property would have been a home run if they had taken the same approach that they took with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I mean,
that was a fucking Guardians fun game. Like,
well, and Guardians didn't sell because it wasn't marketed very well, and it was more. It's weird to call Guardians niche, but I feel like it's more niche than just like the Avengers, as niche as Guardians can be.
No, you're right.
But you're right. Like if you had made a Guardian style game of Avengers, because there's a bunch of people that bought that Avengers game not realizing what they were getting into just because they saw Avengers on the cover and they're just like, oh, it's a new superhero game. And so like those people, would have been a lot more satisfied. And again, it doesn't help when the game, fell off a cliff early, so Square had to do what Square always does and fucking slash the price for that first Black Friday, and it was $30. And from that point on, you're fighting uphill immediately. So mismanaged from top to bottom. Continues to be the story of Square Enix. In this,
and then they had the nerve to say they had the nerve to say that Crystal Dynamics wasn't the right fit for Avengers. Like they weren't the right fit.
No, you weren't the right fit, Square Enix, as a publisher.
It's just hilarious to me.
It almost upsets me that they're going to be rolling the money this June, and I'm going to be a part of it. So because I feel like they don't deserve the success that they're going to get with Final Fantasy 16 with how they've been managing things the past couple years. So
Nope. But I'll be there day one.
yeah, except for FF14. That's the one lone spot, and that's because the publisher pretty much leaves that shit alone at this point. Like Yoshi P turned it around, and they're just like, you know what? You're the golden goose right now. Keep the ship sailing forward, and we're just gonna leave you alone. Like we're just gonna leave it be. So,
Speaking
Carrie,
of RPGs,
you are back on the Persona 3 portable grind.
yeah. Well, I had not played Persona 3 Portable before because I never owned a PSP,
Really?
and I wasn't about to buy one to play this.
But wait, you played Persona 3 before, though, right?
I played Persona 3 before because it was
Okay.
originally a PlayStation 2 title. So
Yes.
yes, I have played the shit out of Persona 3. I just never played Portable, which is a pretty different experience so far. It's very much like a streamlined version of a Persona game. A lot of the fat is sort of cut out because you're not sort of basically everything outside of like the main battle areas. So you have your mementos equivalent in the form of Tartarus,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are other boss areas that pop up throughout the story. And outside of those areas, everything is like sort of a visual novel. And like I knew this going in, but even still, I was sort of like initially put off by it because I like the running around and talking to my friends and shit like that. And like you still do that. It's just that like you interact with them sort of via a cursor on the screen rather than by you moving your character around. But yeah, it's interesting, but because of how like streamlined the non-battle portions of the game are, like it really does cut out a lot of time, and it means that you can play the game in shorter bursts, really.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas normally, like if I want to sit down and play Persona 5, you know, I am going to the basement and I will see you in 3 hours. Like, whereas like Persona 3, I'm playing it on Steam, by the way. It is also now available on PS5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. I'm sure it runs lovely on Nintendo Switch because that sort of portable console is what P3P was designed for. It's weird to play a game that was developed initially for the PlayStation 2 and then was slimmed down to fit on a PlayStation portable cartridge on a high-end gaming PC.
Mm-hmm.
In the description in the show notes, I refer to this as a very crunchy port, because you can see every single angle polygon on the.
They didn't even bother to up-res it?
No, not
Really?
really. Yeah,
Because I think Golden got a bit of a treatment. I think
well,
with this new
did.
release.
It got a little bit of a treatment, but that's also a Vita title, which like is naturally going to look a little bit better anyway. Yeah, it's pretty crunchy. But it's fine. Persona 3 is very much near and dear to my heart. It was sort of my intro into the Shin Megami Tensei franchise at large. Um, but like, while I would recommend you play it, like if you are coming from Persona 5, like this is not the same. This is not the same experience. Um, I do appreciate the fact that Persona 3 Portable allows you to control all of your party members in
Hmm.
the course of Persona 3, because in the original and in Persona 3 FES, um, which had like an epilogue, um, that you could not control your party members. You could only control the main character. Everything else was up to AI, and you could sort of direct the AI. You could be like, be more offensive, do more buffs and heals, that sort of thing. But most of my experience playing through Persona 3 for the first time, which I guess was like 2008, so it's been a while, was just like begging Mitsuru to stop using Marin Karen every single turn. Like, just you can't charm the enemy. Stop fucking trying. Just like a waste of a turn every time with that character. But now that you can control everyone, it's really nice. Yeah, I don't know. It's good, but it is absolutely a PlayStation Portable game. So, there I have heard rumors more recently that apparently there is some consideration to a full-blown remake of Persona 3, which I would love. But yeah, I mean Persona 3 is like a weird, really dark game in a lot of ways. Certainly more dark than Persona 4, which has you investigating a series of murders in a small farm town. But it's good. And if you are coming off of Persona 5 and you're looking for something else to play, Persona 3 is a good place to start, especially now that it's easier and more accessible to play. Though Persona 4 Golden is also really good.
Yeah, like I said, that's the next one for me. I don't know. I don't know when I'm
For
gonna get into
Golden?
it. Yeah, because
Okay.
I've heard really good things like that. I mean, that was the one that really piqued the interest in the West. I feel like for the first time.
I mean, it's interesting because ultimately, like, Persona 3 had the sort of like big niche impact, and then Persona 4 was the sort of like, and more specifically Persona 4 Golden was the sort of like first taste of mainstream
Hmm.
success for the Persona franchise, and then Persona 5 came and blew all that out of the
Yeah.
water. um but yeah, look, Persona 3 is good, and I think it still holds up. And the crunchiness is not a deterrent for me as far as enjoying the story or the gameplay. So,
Very cool.
All right.
Very very
Well,
good.
go to densepixel.com/fans for all of your Dense Pixels needs. You'll get invited to our Discord, and you can do a bunch of stuff there. And that's where you go voice your opinion in the post office. Drop us a line at densepixels.com/fans. Go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe. You can see all our beautiful faces. You can see the television flashing behind me as Raw Triple X is on. You can see me get distracted by my wife as she comes in here asking where the bowl of popcorn went. I have no idea.
wow.
When you go, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It really helps us out. Um, and then you can go to anywhere you get your podcast to get all of the TNP Studios podcasts, including the Nerdpocalypse, Black on Black Cinema. Oh my goodness gracious, guys. We're doing a movie on Black on Black Cinema. We're recording it tomorrow. It's called The Black Gestapo.
Oh,
Is this one of those like based on a true story things?
I hope not. It's a black exploitation movie.
I was about to say
And,
why did they have to call it that though?
well,
Because somehow even back in the 70s, Republicans weren't racist enough to come up with a term like that to denigrate black people. And yet,
So
I feel like if someone said it today, then they wouldn't even have to apologize for it in conservative media.
I'm excited to watch it. I haven't watched it, but I saw the trailer. The trailer was wild, and we picked it because there are certain black musical artists out there that, for some reason, have no problem admitting to the world that they like Nazis, which is a problem. Nazis are bad. Don't like them. Punch them.
It feels very strange that we have to qualify this.
Clarify our stance on Nazis.
Right.
Not good. I know. Shocking.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah. I think I can safely speak for all of us here at the Dense Pixels podcast when we say we are anti-Nazi. Other shows you can subscribe to are Coming Distractions and the weekly preview episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast. Go to densepixels.com/premium for $5 a month or $50 for the year. You get access to the premium slate of podcasts, including all of the back episodes of Airing of Grievances, No Time to Bleed, Men with the Golden Tongues, Upstage Conversation, and the full, fresh, weekly, extended episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast, where our two secular friends, the Thugs of News, go on and repeatedly take glee in disparaging my religion, but that's fine.
To be fair, I took aim at evangelical Christians specifically last week, and all I did was say they might be stupid.
Look,
but I had very good context to belie.
You did, and quite frankly, I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out anyway, so I am not offended at all.
That's it. You are not an evangelical Christian, therefore I meant you no offense. Yes, like we said, it was a pretty shit week in the games industry last week, and it's kind of been shitty in tech generally. For the past couple weeks, as companies are getting their Q4 earnings and looking at their yearly earnings, there's a lot of cuts because there's a lot of people that made a shitload of money during the peak of the pandemic, and now that the pandemic has become something that's kind of part of our everyday lives and people are going out and not staying in as much, tech companies are really feeling the crunch big time and not able to keep up with their earnings projections that were made based off of numbers that are quite frankly unsustainable. That's not just the tech problem, that's a problem in industries across the world. But specifically in the gaming industry, we saw a lot of layoffs, most notably at Microsoft. Microsoft cut 10,000 jobs last week, many of them in the gaming sector, and many of those were at 343 Industries, the makers of Halo, and Bethesda Game Studios, who are working on a number of projects at any given time. Riot Games also did dozens of layoffs for probably many people to say it's first time that they can recall. So they were just kind of cleaning up positions that Riot said, quote, no longer makes sense for us. Unity let go of 284 folks as well. There's an Israeli company called Playtika. They laid off 600 employees, and round we go. Pretty big fucking bummer. We're probably not through the end of it. Wouldn't be surprised to see this happen at places like Ubisoft. Wouldn't be surprised to see this at some other big publishers who are typically laying off folks. And we'll get into 343 in a second. A lot of people saying that this might have happened because of poor reception for Halo Infinite and the fact that the game has been mired in a bit of a standstill since the game released in terms of putting out new content. But I hate this shit. And I hate this shit specifically because the people whose fault it actually is are never held to account. Like the people that are getting laid off are people who are the grunts. Like they're the ones doing the day to day. They're the ones that are making the paltry salaries compared to the executives and the upper management who are responsible for setting the course for the plan of action for these companies, and they're not the ones taking the fall. And not only that, we saw in the game industry, but also the games media industry was also hit with massive layoffs. We saw layoffs at Fandom, who owns GameSpot and Giant Bomb, and then we also saw layoffs at Vox Media, which I don't believe hit the gaming side of things at all. I think that was isolated to a lot of their blogs and things like that. Which Vox Media and SB Nation doesn't cover hockey anymore. Like all of their hockey blogs got 86, and if I were the NHL, that should be a big wake up call to me that Vox Media feels like they don't have to have hockey coverage. But I digress. But yeah, like I said, the people that are actually making the decisions. We talked last week about Yizgi Mo put out a internal email to Ubisoft employees talking about the company's struggles in Q4, and he ended it with saying, something like the ball's in your court now to make these great games. And then they had an all hands meeting last week, and one of the people sent a question to him and said, "Hey, you said in this email that the ball's in our court now, and it's time for us to run with it. Well, the ball's been in your court for all these years, and you put us in this situation. Why aren't you being held to account? Like why is it on us to fix your mistakes and to fix your?" And he had to kind of bet.
It's your court, dummy.
Right.
You built the fucking court.
Yeah. So yeah, I hate this because the people, like I said, the people who are leaving aren't leaving. And by the way, people aren't leaving because these companies aren't profitable. That's not what's happening. It's because they're not meeting the earnings and they're not meeting the profits that they said they were going to. So it's not that they're not profitable. It's that they're not profitable enough so that the shareholders...
They're not meeting these exceedingly high expectations that the C-level executives all told their shareholders they were going to be able to meet, despite the fact that the level of growth that this industry has, seen within the last few years, driven by the conditions caused by the pandemic, was obviously going to be in no way sustainable. But instead of realizing that ahead of time, they were like, "Nah, keep going."
Yeah.
Keep going. We got to keep hiring, and so they hired a ton of people, and wowie, now you're not making nearly as much money as you said you were going to make because everyone went back to the office, like me, fucking hate it. And it's just it's wild to me that I mean, I am unsurprised by this turn of events. This is, I would consider this somewhat expected. But it's just the way that some of these companies are handling this sort of shit over the last week, basically as the Q4 reports start rolling out. It's kind of gross, but that's capitalism for you, baby. And welcome to hell. So
yeah, one of the things I'm not a business person, but I do know that like I have to deal with a little bit of finance in my job, and it's like if we don't, if you don't spend enough money, you won't get that much allocated next fiscal year. It's kind of the same, only if you don't make enough money with these corporations, like they throw a hissy fit, like they don't like that, like. But it comes to a point where it's like, yo, there's not enough money. There's not enough money going around. You can't have like our next quarter. I want infinity money, and it's just like, wait, what? Like, I don't know, man. And look, I don't know what the solution is, right? Like, do you
socialism?
Yeah, because like something's got to give, right? Like you can't.
Yes, the abolishment of the free market, that is that is ultimately the solution to this specific problem. Because as long as there's shareholders and as long as there's outside interests and money being poured into these companies,
what we need to do is we need to start hunting billionaires for sport. I promise this will solve a lot of problems.
Like I wish there was just a cap on how much a person could make. That's it. Just a cap on how much a person can make.
What's
If you can
wild is
make
that like they have that in sports leagues and
right, like
like
only for the players though, Carrie. The
no, of
owners
course, of
don't have
course,
to
of course,
aren't subjected
of
to that
course.
salary cap.
Oh God.
Only for the people who are the means of production and not the
Yeah. Hmm.
like if you can make $1 billion, $1 billion. If you individual have a company that you can make $1 billion, right?
Hmm.
That should be it.
Yeah.
That's it. The rest
You
goes
you don't
to
you
your
don't you
employees.
don't need more than that. I promise you, you don't need any more than that.
Like I can't imagine having
I
$1 billion.
will
And look,
take. I'll
I'm all
take.
for people.
I'll take. I'll take 10% of that, and I will fuck off into the woods,
I'll take
and you'll never.
I'll take 100% of that. Are you
Right,
kidding?
right. Like, I'll take 1%
Yeah.
of that, and I will walk into the woods, and you will never see me again. I will no
Yeah,
longer be a
man.
menace to society. Because let's be real, I am right now.
Like I'm all for people making as much money as you can, right? 'Cause I'm a firm believer if you are good at something, and people want it, like charge them for it. But like, you gotta hit even like there's got to be a cap.
Mhm.
And then if you own a corporation, especially if you own a corporation, if you own a corporation, like you funnel that money back down, and that's how you get people to want to work for you. That's how
Yeah.
you get people like people think that like old people think that young people are lazy. Nah, yo, they're not lazy. They're just not. There's no incentive for them to work hard.
Mhm.
Gone are the days of working hard for like a hill of beans or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, nah, man. Mm-mm. And I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird.
Well,
Also,
and
get your politics out of my goddamn video games,
well, and
Brad.
again, that's the thing is that all these record profits, where do they go? Like like you guys said, like it would be smart to be invested back into the company, and some of them do that. I mean,
Hmm.
a lot of a lot of the big games pay for a lot of the small games of some of these publishers and stuff like that. But for the most part, they go to shareholders. Like when companies are doing really well, what do? They pay out dividends, and the people who invest money in the company are the ones that get it, not the workers that got them to that level or anything like that. The CEO gets a nice fat. At Microsoft, I'm sure the CEO of Microsoft, when Microsoft does really well, is getting literally tens of millions of dollars of bonus money, which for them doesn't even fucking matter because they already have, like I said, hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. So they're just like whatever, and it
Right.
goes to shareholders. It's one of the things that galled people during the pandemic because all these businesses got bailed out with the like the airline industry especially because they were suffering on hard times. They got bailed out by you know the government money, basically supplementing their lost income for the pandemic. They would give a small bonus to their employees, and then what happened to the rest? Buy back stocks. Like that's literally what happened is they would buy back stocks that they could then sell later on when once profits were higher and they could make some money off of that as well. It's fucking gross. And again, I understand also that like these like we're gonna shift the focus to Microsoft specifically here. It's kind of funny, and I understand that these two sources of income come from two very different buckets, and it's not like a money in, money out situation. Like the reason that Microsoft is buying Activision is because debt is cheap right now, and so that's why they're trying to buy that, and it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. But if you're someone who did get laid off at 343 or Bethesda, it must be really galling to see the process continue, the $69 billion process continue to get Activision and Blizzard into the Microsoft fold as you're getting a severance package and hitting the street because you guys didn't make enough money for us this year. We need to cut costs. So that's from out of that. Now, again, as I mentioned, a lot of these layoffs happened at 343 Industries, makers of Halo. Halo Infinite has been tough sledding since its release as far as getting new content out there. And so the rumors and speculation abound in the industry that with all these cuts, surely this must mean that Microsoft is considering pulling its flagship franchise away from 343. A company that in the decade that it's been there, I think it's fair to say it struggled to really meet the same highs that it hit when Bungie was running the show. But according to 343 Studios, that is not the case. Studio head Pierre Heinz said that Halo and Master Chief were, quote, here to stay, and that the 343 team would continue to develop Halo now and in the future. This was a very brief statement. Pierre Heinz, apparently a fan of brevity, that he put out on Twitter to talk about this. My question to you, and this is probably most towards Micah, do you think that 343, after 3 Halo games, should get another bite at the apple with Halo?
No, Bungie really, but Bungie is a really, really hard act to follow, because they not only like got gameplay down, but they got story down. Like they made you care about a faceless avatar, and 343 just I don't feel the love. Like it just feels like they're pumping out a game. They're working really hard on it, right? Like I'm not accusing them of pumping out schlock, but no, I think it's time for something new. I think it's time for something new. I think that's how you keep franchises alive, quite frankly. And that's in any art form. One person doing the same thing over and over again is how you got season 8 of Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? Like they wanted to be done with it, and then they were just like, all right,
Fuck it, just ship it,
crazy.
whatever.
I think part of that is also the fact that they had a lot more free reign over the story. Like they didn't have a guide map to follow as strictly.
Yeah.
and turns out George R.R. Martin can't finish a book in a prompt manner, but he can spin a yarn. As it happens.
But no, man, look, it's very sweet that you named your company after 343 Guilty Spark, but I mean, you can change your company's name. Or you could just be like, this is our new area code now.
Yeah.
3.
Or just be like, hey, we made Halo, we made a trilogy of Halo games, and now we're ready to move on to something else. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be the Halo studio. Guess what? It's why Bungie's not a part of Microsoft anymore, because they're like, you know what? We don't want to be the Halo studio anymore. And Microsoft's like, yeah, I get that, but at the same time, those Halo games, they make a lot of money. So maybe you could just be the Halo studio, and they're just like, actually, deuces, we're gonna go go elsewhere and do what we want to do.
Oh,
yeah, man.
Yeah,
I would love to see someone else take on Halo, right? Like I don't hate that franchise. It's not my favorite, but it's something that I'll play. Yeah, I respect it. Something I'll play.
The music.
Yeah,
still has great music.
Yeah, they put a lot of effort into these games. It's just the promise of what Halo Infinite could have been wasn't fulfilled. And could you imagine if like Bungie still wanted to do it, but like it ended up being like Destiny? Mm-hmm. And just like it would be.
I'm sure Microsoft could imagine it. You need a whole different landscape now.
Yeah, man. They built Destiny from like, just a bunch of weird shit, right? And like who would like that? Turns out everyone likes it. And here we have 343 with Halo, a franchise that is synonymous with video gaming at this point, right? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, man, I'm not gonna say they wasted this IP, but like, no, this I want to see someone else try.
Yeah, I think it's also a good lesson about knowing when to move on. Contrast this with Sony, for example. Could they milk the shit out of the Uncharted franchise? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Are they going to do that now? No, because they realized that they told a lot of really good stories, and that the cow only has so much milk in it before the shit gets sour, and they moved on before it got stale. With Microsoft, we see it twice. We've seen it with Halo, and we've seen it with Gears of War. Like, Gears of War is a far cry from where Gears of War was at its zenith. These last two games that have come out have not hit the same highs.
I can't tell you how sad I am
Yeah.
at the state of where Gears of War is. Like, Gears of War, the first few games, the first two were great. The third one was still pretty good. But they were, they hit me specifically in my like 1980s like Predator Commando, like just walking penises with feelings and stuff like that. Like it hit me, but that's like it hit me right where it needed to, and it was really, really good. And now I mean, I hate to say this, I really do, but the later Gears of War games, they feel I know what it's like to feel like a boomer now, right? Like they are. It's not that they star different protagonists or anything like that. It just doesn't hit the same. Like, is this what the kids are into? Like,
well, and it's because
I feel like.
It's because they told a specific story with those first three games, and they told a tight narrative. And then when it came time for Gears 4, it was like, well, fuck, I guess we got to make another one. Like, look how much money we made for Gears 3. And so you're starting from a place of obligation almost, where it's like, oh, we have to make this game. We don't really have the passion to make. I mean, I guess there's some level of passion. I'm not trying to say that the people that made it are dispassionate about it, but at the same time, like, it's like, all right, we have to make a Gears game, so let's figure out what that game's going to be, rather than, oh my god, I know where I want this to go. Like, I cannot wait to make this new fun Gears game. Halo did the same thing. Like, Halo, they told the story with Halo's 1 through 3. You got a nice little bonus there with a prequel game with Halo Reach that was probably better than it had any right to be. Mostly because that was Bungie's swan song to the series. And then 343 was like, well, fuck, we need to make a Halo game, so now we need to figure out how to make it work. Essentially, and it's never quite been the same thing. And again, the troubles with the development. I mean, we are getting to the third multiplayer season for a game that released 15 months ago at this point. Which, for a game that is supposed to be, this ongoing multiplayer thing that you're going to get constant updates and we're going to keep you engaged and, do the whole Fortnite thing and all that stuff, that's not good when you're just getting to season 3 all this time later, because only at this point, I have to imagine only the fucking diehardiest of diehard Halo people are still playing that game on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So, very sad.
Halo Wars?
Yeah. I mean, again, Halo Wars, for what it was excellent. It appealed to a very different genre of people that are looking for something different, but it's a good game.
I just remember when like Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2 came out, literally having to explain to people who are coming in and be like, oh, new Halo game. And I'm having to be like, wait. This is a real-time strategy game. This is not a first-person shooter. Do you understand what you're buying? Yeah, I'm getting the new Halo. All right, well, have fun. Like,
see you in 3 days.
Yep.
You don't even kill anybody. You just tell people what to do. That's what I remember. Someone literally said that. It's like you're like a general or something. I'm like, yeah, it's what happens in an RTS. That is what that is.
Yep. In other industry bullshit, Blizzard. Hey, we're back talking about Blizzard on the podcast. Who would have thought? In a story filed by Mr. Jason Schreier for Bloomberg earlier this evening, Brian Birmingham, who was the co-lead developer on World of Warcraft Classic, biggity bounced out of there and said in an email to his staff that he was fed up with the system that Blizzard implemented in 2021, which is a process called stack ranking, in which employees are ranked by their managers on a bell curve, and managers must give low ratings to a certain percentage of their staff. They were expected to give a poor status, referred to as developing, to roughly 5% of the employees on their teams, which would lower those employees' profit sharing bonus money and could prevent them from receiving raises or promotions in the near future. Birmingham said in his email, when team leads asked why we had to do this, WoW directors explained that while they did not agree, the reasons given by executive leadership were that it was important to squeeze the bottommost performers as a way to make sure everybody continues to grow. This sort of policy encourages competition between employees, sabotage of one another's work, a desire for people to find low performing teams that they can be the best performing worker on, and ultimately erodes trust and destroys creativity. If this policy cannot be reversed, then the Blizzard Entertainment I want to work for doesn't exist anymore, and I'll have to find somewhere else to work. Yeah, this policy sucks, and if I worked for a company that did it, I would quit.
If and so I'm saying this as someone with almost 15, no more than that. Fuck, God, I'm old. Oh God, 18, almost 18 years of management experience. In my career. If you can't find a way to develop someone, and without assigning like negative grades to them, and finding reasons to do it, then you're not a very good manager, because anyone can be continued to develop and challenged and have goals set for them, without necessarily holding, a sword over their heads. While doing it. And I'm not saying that this guy was a bad manager. Obviously, he's not. He left. He's like, yeah, this is fucked up, and this isn't right. But the upper managers on the team who didn't push back against corporate were like, hey, this is stupid. We're not doing this. Those are the people who are a little bit cowardice in this specific example. Because it doesn't make any sense. Like, if someone truly was ranked that low, or they're not hitting, metrics that they need to or anything like that, then they probably don't need to work for you, or they might not be in the right position, or you didn't do a good enough job developing them in the first place.
It's not even just that. It's the fact that there is a quota that has to be met for filing a certain amount of employees into the developing, like the low ranking, regardless of sort of how well they're actually doing.
Well, it's like
Birmingham
I told you before
that
got on the recording, they're like the cops. Like, you know how like at the end of the month, like, you got to watch out around, speed traps, because the cops have to meet their ticket quota at the end of the month. They're going to get you for some bullshit that they wouldn't care about, earlier on.
Yeah. Apparently said, Birmingham said he was forced to lower an employee from the average successful rating to developing in order to meet his quota. So stack ranking, apparently first gained popularity in the 80s, used at several tech companies, including Amazon. The process is generally criticized for pitting employees against one another and for facilitating toxic environments, and has accordingly become less popular over the last few years. Microsoft, which of course, as we just discussed, intends to acquire Activision Blizzard for $69 billion, ended its own stack ranking program about 10 years ago. So I would like to think that if this deal goes through, which we're all assuming it will, that Activision Blizzard will probably be forced to end theirs as well, because again, it's bullshit and it doesn't actually help anybody. Literally all they're trying to do is make sure that less people get the profit sharing bonus that everyone else gets.
Yep. And that's literally too, like if your team is so large that you as a immediate supervisor have enough people that you're just like, oh God, like it makes, we have to do stack ranking. I can't possibly have individual performance, plans for each of these folks, or have goals for individual goals for folks. Your team's too big. Fucking make it smaller. Promote more people and manage smaller teams and hand off that responsibility. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Speaking of terrible companies, Amazon.
The
Amazon. Amazon. Go to densebusiness.com/Amazon for all of your Amazon purchases. When you do, you will get what you wanted, and we will get a finder's fee. I'm on denspixels.com/Amazon, and I typed in Blizzard. And the first result is a movie, a 2003 movie called Blizzard, starring Brenda Blethyn, Brittany Bristow, Whoopi Goldberg, directed by LeVar Burton. What? Okay, hold on, guys.
How is Whoopi Goldberg getting third billing with that cast? It's my question.
It is an enchanting tale of Katie and her magical friendship with Blizzard, one of Santa's newest reindeer. Blizzard uses her special powers to help Katie realize her own inner strength and potential. By doing so, Blizzard risks being banished from Santa's village. Only the most powerful gift of all can save them. So Blizzard the reindeer is going to be banished from Santa's village for helping a person? What kind of fucking bullshit is this, Santa?
Plus, isn't it supposed to be Blitzen, not Blizzard?
This is a new one. This is a new one. Yeah, this is whack. Go get yourself Blizzard, a book called Blizzard by John Rocco. It's $9.49 on sale right now at densepixels.com/Amazon.
We go to the post office where you can submit your questions by going to densepixels.com/fans, starting with Daniel, who asks, what is the worst candy?
Good and
Circus peanuts.
Licorice.
Is that are we considering circus peanuts a candy?
Yes.
I don't know.
I think
They've always been sort of like
technically
marshmallow adjacent to me.
Oh, all right. Then Tootsie Rolls.
Really?
Really?
You don't like Tootsie Rolls?
Tootsie Roll? No, I don't like Tootsie Rolls. Tootsie Rolls are plastic chocolate. It's gross. They're not good. They're not good. I don't like them.
Yeah,
Brad and I are on the Brad and I are on the same wavelength because Good and Plenty is technically licorice candy.
Yeah, licorice in all its forms is fucking gross. So.
Awful.
I don't care for licorice. My wife loves Twizzlers. I just can't.
Twizzlers aren't licorice. We are referring to actual licorice. No, Twizzlers are little strawberry twists that is masquerading in the form of general licorice. We are referring to black licorice.
I am also including Twizzlers
in
my
licorice.
Twizzlers.
No, Twizzlers are good. Like strawberry. No,
Twizzlers.
You're wrong. Twizzlers are good.
Twizzlers make me physically nauseous whenever I eat them.
Oh my god, no! Like actual licorice is awful. That's why I don't like Good and Plenty because it's just fucking raw anise, basically. And but like it's masquerading as tiny little, delightfully colored candies. But no, that shit tastes like butthole. Awful.
Quickly, back to the Amazon read for a second. I'm sorry. I typed in licorice candy and into Google, and I see an ad here. Oh wow, it's an ad. Fuck, I shouldn't have clicked it. But it's an ad because now I'm gonna
your algorithms are ruined.
Is it the one that says "lusting for licorice"?
It's no. It's I see a big bag here that says Negro on the bag.
Okay.
And I say, what? I type in licorice and I see a bag called Negro.
Negro, my friend.
Yes, it is Negro. It is Hungarian. It is Hungarian classic Negro hard candy throat sweeper. Okay.
No,
all
look.
Right. Get yourself some Negro candy at densepixels.com/Amazon.
Look. Twizzlers, Twizzlers makes licorice as well, but Twizzlers when you get them at like the movie theater, that's just strawberry. It's strawberry in the form of a licorice twist.
But what about the black licorice? Is that different?
That is licorice. Yes, it's different.
The black Twizzlers. The black Twizzlers.
Yes, that is actual licorice flavored candy because licorice is derived from anise, and it has a very specific flavor that I do not find pleasurable. But
now,
like,
I am a bit ignorant. I'm a bit
Uh-huh.
ignorant, and you have said this twice now. And at first, I thought you were joking, and now I don't know if you are. It is derived from anise. Are you saying that there is something called anise?
anise or aniseed, which is like
Okay.
it grows all over the place. You can literally find it probably in your backyard.
I bet everybody has one.
Yes, everybody has one.
Everybody's got some anise.
Yeah, everybody's got some anise.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm
But
a
not
child.
everyone likes to eat anise, so you
No,
gotta be careful.
no.
You gotta be
I
careful about that.
personally don't care to. No judgment if you do, though.
Phil Wander asks, "What are your expectations for the 2023 F1 season, which is starting in just about 6 weeks from now?" I think it's Max Verstappen until someone proves otherwise. Is my projection. He looked too dominant last year, but we'll see. We never know what the cars are going to look like until they get out on the track. Mark asks, "Are we ever going to get another Beyond the Register, or what?" Probably one day when we get there. So.
Just gotta find the
Someday,
time,
maybe.
man.
Yeah.
Just gotta find the time.
T-Wash asks, "What wrestling heel did you hate in the past but now have come to appreciate?" They list Edge and Kurt Angle as two examples for them.
Kurt Angle's a really good one. Kurt Angle is secretly probably one of the best professional wrestlers ever. Because it takes more than just like mat skills. Wrestling, half of wrestling is character work. And Kurt Angle could pull off character work while he was in WWE. I didn't really follow him when he was outside of WWE. I everything I saw of him, he wasn't like fun, but he could be serious. He comes to play. He could be goofy. Like he's not like you can't have any shame. You can't have any shame. And for someone with no shame to be able to humiliate themselves, but still like legitimately kick your ass, like that's awesome, man. So yeah, I like that idea. I'm gonna steal it. It's Kurt Angle.
Randy Orton really annoyed me in the mid to late 2000s, and now I really enjoy him because he's having a lot of fun when he's doing what he does out there.
Yeah.
So that's probably mine. Clay asks, WWE 2K23 has been officially announced. Do you think that they have fixed the game, or can we expect more of the same? 22 was fairly decent by all accounts, especially compared to the boondoggle that was 2K20.
Yeah, they took a whole ass year off because 2K20 was so bad. I wouldn't know. I don't play. I think I've played one WWE 2K game. Can't remember what it is. Didn't care for it. I don't like the I don't like this weird simulation like fighting game style wrestling. As much as like I don't really care about that AEW game, I do want to play it just for the nostalgia hit. But like I don't want to buy it. You know what I mean? Like was this gonna be like $70? I'm like, nah, yo. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I just want to play it.
I'm sure it'll be on sale fast enough. They also ask what extra stuff like DLC or extra content or Easter eggs would entice you to pre-order a game in this day and age, or has pre-ordering gone the way of the dinosaur? Now, me and Carrie have to answer this question first, and then Micah can answer it second, because I think we lay on two very opposite ends of the fence when it comes to this particular subject.
Micah's like, does it exist? It is pre-ordered.
If you get it, like if they give you like an extra, like, and this is going to be specific to certain types of games, fighting games in particular, but if they give you an extra character that you would then normally have to like pay money for, and I know that it's a game that I want, then I'll usually pre-order it. But nowadays, like considering that I get everything digitally, and considering that there's a lot of games that fucking suck, hey, go check out those Forspoken reviews that came out today. Ain't looking good.
We'll actually get to that in a second.
But yeah, like it's got to be something really worthwhile that would actually heighten my experience. If it's just like a costume or like a skin of some kind or an extra weapon, probably not going to do it.
Look, at this point, the only time I'm pre-ordering a game is usually for the sake of like a collector's edition. Not necessarily something that like, a little token extra costume or cosmetic or some shit like that that would come with like the standard edition if you pre-ordered it. Like I reserve my pre-orders for limited collector's editions of shit that I know I'm going to like.
Mhm.
Like the last couple games that I pre-ordered were the collector's editions of Monster Hunter Stories 2 and maybe Persona 5 Royal, and that was basically it. Yeah, I don't really do pre-orders
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah,
Kind of
the
over it.
last game that I pre-ordered was GT7, and I think it's like because they gave you like a car or two. So I'm just like, yeah, I'll take that. So
I think I did a digital pre-order of Shin Megami Tensei 3 because like you got some maybe an extra cosmetic. But again, this was a game that I had already played before and I knew I was going to like, and I was looking forward to the HD port sort of regardless. So
now,
it didn't
Micah,
factor into my decision.
Micah, why in this day and age of bait and switches and publishers holding back until the game pretty much has come out, do you still give companies your pre-order dollars?
So I don't pre-order as much as I used to, right? Like old me would have probably pre-ordered like Forspoken, right?
Ooh.
Uh,
I'm genuinely surprised to hear that you haven't.
no, I have not. And
Support.
Okay.
Well, I was all of a sudden, Mike. Like, I listen to Black on Black Cinema, and I always think that TR is giving you a hard time. But I see now that she seeks the truth. Micah going out of his way to not support black women. Go off, King. Like I get.
Oh no.
Look, I will look. I pre-order home runs. I pre-order games that I know are going to blow me away. I have 5 games pre-ordered right now.
Ooh, I wonder if I can name them. Hang on. Like, all right, let's play this game. Can I name Micah's pre-orders? All right, Street Fighter 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Okay.
Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
not available yet.
Oh, not available yet. Okay. Starfield.
No, I got Game
Oh,
Pass.
you have Game
Yeah,
Pass.
I
You have
was,
Game
I,
Pass.
I
What-
was
what-
not. I was
ridiculous.
not. I was not going to guess.
Ridiculous. That doesn't count. Fuck. Now I'm already running out of games. Zelda.
Nope.
Really? Okay.
I for some reason I didn't get into Breath of the Wild.
Oh, what fucking is the new Yakuza like the Haitian
That's the
game?
one. That's the one I thought you weren't gonna get.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Yeah. Fuck,
What's
two
that?
RE4
more.
remake.
Oh, RE4 is not available for pre-order yet, is it?
It is.
RE4
I'm gonna
remake?
hold off.
It comes out in March,
I'm gonna.
right?
Yeah, that comes out in March. I'll
shit,
hold off
really?
on that for a minute.
Wow,
Because
okay.
Star Wars comes out in March. I'm gonna play Star Wars before I play Resident Evil.
Fuck. What are the other two?
Diablo 4.
Yep.
Oh wow, I'm surprised you have, I'm actually surprised you had that pre-ordered. I wasn't going to say that.
FF16.
There you go.
Yeah, okay, I should have.
Yeah, I
feel
mean,
like
come
an
on,
idiot.
guys. Come on. It's June, guys. It's June.
Yeah.
It's gonna be June's gonna be like Christmas in June.
In June.
Cam asks, after fairly robust romance systems in Fire Emblem Awakening and Three Houses, why do y'all think that part of the experience has regressed in Three Hopes and the latest installment, Engage?
Hey Cam, it's because it sucks, and I didn't, we didn't need a fucking dating sim in Fire Emblem. I'm happy to hear that they actually rolled it back in Engage. It makes me more interested in Engage. All the Fire Emblems, I'll say Awakening was good, and everything since then has been baby games for babies. And if you want to play real Fire Emblem, go back and play literally anything else that came out before Awakening, except the DS port of or the DS remake. Don't play Shadow Dragon. Shadow Dragon isn't very good, but go back and play the Game Boy Advance ones, and then play Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, and enjoy yourself some real Fire Emblem for adults rather than baby games for babies, which is what these more recent Fire Emblems are.
Man, listen to this Fire Emblem gatekeeping coming hard from Carrie.
I've been playing Fire Emblem since 2003, 2004. Since whenever that fucking first GBA one came out in America. And it makes me sick to see what that series has become ever since the success of Awakening. Fates is shit. God, Fates is fucking awful. Three Houses was a step in the right direction, and Engage I'm hearing a lot of mixed reviews on, but I have no intention on playing it.
Well, what's funny though is that the people
I was
that
literally
has
so burned by how bad Fates was that it made me not want to play the series ever again. And I had literally been playing.
well, it's
for
funny because
like,
most of the negative reviews that I've seen of Engage have been because they took out the dating sim stuff. So if you don't like the dating
I
sim
don't
stuff, then
fucking
perhaps
care about
yeah,
those
perhaps
people
that
then.
might
God, I hope they
that might
die
work for
mad
you.
about it. Fire Emblem never needed like there were, you know, you would pair certain units up with each other and like build their relationship and whatnot, but it wasn't the focus of the game. And when it started to become the focus of the game suffered as a result of it. And I'm not going to sit here and entertain the notion that Fire Emblem was better when it had a big dating sim element, because it wasn't any better and the story was bad and none of the characters were good. I'm tired of it.
He also asked Mike Roy Rumble picks for this Saturday.
Look, I'm going with the safest picks possible: Cody Rhodes
Yeah.
and Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley, I agree with, and she probably should win. I agree with the Cody Rhodes pick as they probably will win. I know who I want to see win because it would make for the most interesting story, and that is Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn. Yeah. That would be. That's the one thing that I'm kind of afraid of. Is I think everyone wants Sammy to win. But the issue is like they need to do some sort of like they need to turn on Sammy right now. And if they turn on Sammy right now, then Sammy ends up winning the Royal Rumble, and then you got the whole like
No.
you could build the whole Daniel Bryan thing again.
No.
But-
You do the anti Batista angle. Well, Sami Zayn wins first, and then they turn on him the night after Royal Rumble on Raw, and then you have the build,
okay.
and then you have the build for teams.
Yeah.
Mark asks, which game or series would you like to see wiped out of everyone's memories? I'm going to go first, and you already know what I'm going to say.
I think it's the same answer I have.
Kingdom fucking Hearts.
Okay. Mine's I think adjacent. Final Fantasy VII.
Oh damn! Come on, yo! Come on.
No.
Let's not get ridiculous, yo. Let's not get ridiculous.
Well,
Is
here's
it?
the
Is
thing.
it?
Brad and I, if we if without no Final Fantasy VII, then there's no Kingdom Hearts. So I get a twofer on that, really.
And I feel like Final Fantasy VIII's a radically different game too. So I feel like 7 is the nexus of the irritating JRPG timeline.
It really is.
Every single game that has simulator in it. So, and I'm talking about like
Farming Simulator.
backhoe,
I know what you're talking
backhoe
about, yeah.
simulator. I'm talking about like big
Power
rig
wash
simulator.
simulator.
I'm talking about like like innocuous job simulator. Like
Yes.
no, I don't want to simulate that. What? Get out of here! I'm looking at one power wash simulator. What?
To be fair,
cleaning
power washing
cars?
something can be very satisfying.
Yeah, apparently it's a good like vibe game. Like
Yeah,
like
to
a
do
chill
it.
game.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
In
rather
the,
just
in the
power
same
wash.
manner that like unpacking is kind of like a good game to just like chill out with. I've heard that about Power Wash Simulator. I think my husband's played Power Wash Simulator. I should ask him.
All right, Euro Truck Simulator. How about
Yeah,
that?
fuck that.
What the fuck is that? Get out of here.
Gerard
Train
asks, how hype are you guys for PvP in Marvel Snap? I don't know many folks who played this personally, but I'm having a blast right now, currently at 1650, and started to experiment with different deck configurations to change up my experience. Mike, I don't know about you. I haven't played Marvel Snap in probably about 2 to 3 weeks, give or take.
I have all the cards that I wanted, and at this point, like, what's like, I'm loading up now to see where I am, but I haven't played in a while. Like I usually log on once just to see what I have 1970 gold So I want to see what kind of skins they have. But I'm at 1557, and I don't know, man. It's just it needs a shot in the arm for me. It's still a great game, right? It's still a great toilet game. But I don't play it like I used to play it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I used to do my daily check-ins too and play a match or two at the very least. But like I said, the turn that they're taking, and how they're monetizing the game is a little gross. And again, once you get up to that collection level where all three of us basically are right now, I think I'm in like the 1700s if I'm not mistaken. It becomes a serious grind to get new cards, and new cards is what keeps you on the treadmill basically. So
Yeah.
till they adjust the drop rates a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to be coming back to it as much. They have been kind of showing what they are doing. Apparently, they did move some of the pool 4 cards into pool 3 to make them easier to get, basically. And I think they're going to continue doing that as time goes along, because basically you keep getting pool 3 cards. Like you always get a new pool 3 card until you've collected all of them, essentially. And then you'll start to see 4 or 5s go up. So I guess that's a smart way to do. But yeah, I haven't really been playing that much lately. Leonardo asks, "What's up?" Not much.
Not much, man.
Chill.
It's Monday.
Yeah. Justin says, "What are your all's thoughts on Forspoken? There seems to be some drama about Square paying for positive reviews." So, what Justin's referring to
Because
specifically?
the checks bounced.
Well, no, not even that. What Justin's referring to specifically, I think, is because they released a release trailer today
Yeah,
that
so
has some
all right.
very cherry picked quotes.
A lot of 1 and 2 word quotes that were cherry picked from reviews. Not even all of which were reviews about the game. Some of which were just previews of the game.
Yes.
Some of which were reactions to earlier trailers and whatnot. So,
It's one of those situations where it's like ellipsis, great ellipsis.
yeah, one of those, or just the word fun.
Yeah, and of course they're taking the quotes like out of completely with no context.
Completely out of context. Now, keeping in mind that this is not necessarily Square Enix doing this. This is them outsourcing to whatever marketing trailer partner they have, and they decided to, cut it in the way that they did, and basically someone in the Square Enix marketing department went, "Cool." And yeah, I mean, I haven't seen anything about Square paying anyone for positive reviews. I have not been able to confirm that. Obviously that's a big story if that's what's going on here. But there's been mostly mixed reviews. That being said, my buddy Gene Park at the Washington Post has been posting some late game footage. And there's some stuff that I think looks pretty fucking cool as far as like how that game looks and plays. I will play it when it is eventually and inevitably free on PlayStation Plus.
That's probably true too. I don't have much to say about it because it is not a game that I'm at all interested in. It screams like early 2010s action game motif.
Yes.
On top
and not
of it.
in a good way.
Yeah. Like I see Forspoken and I'm like I think to myself like, man, what if you set Prototype in this magical land and that's just the vibes that I get from it. Honestly.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So.
Yeah. Brendan says, "Did everyone finish Elden Ring? I dropped it and picked it back up on Steam Deck and can't stop playing and making new builds."
I'm still working. Who did we beat most recently? Godfrey? Or like Godfrey's spooky ghost? That was a big boss.
Oh yeah. So you're officially further than I got then, because like I said, I put it down about 65 hours in, and I
am
to
54.8 hours in.
Go.
Oh no, we did Praetor Rykard.
Okay.
That was a fun fight.
I got to the capital before I put it down, just because I had my fill at the time. I definitely see myself going back to the game when I want to at some point.
I am all in at this point. Like
Yeah.
it's like again, as I've said, I've been playing almost entirely in co-op with my husband, which has been a lot of fun. Because I'm not very good at Soulsborne games, so it's nice to have someone to hold my hand while I scream.
What is your build? I'm curious.
Dex,
Mhm.
with high endurance as well,
Okay.
and vigor.
So
I'm trying to
you're
tank it, basically.
you're tanking. I thought
Yeah,
when you said
I'm
high dex and vigor, I thought you were
You said
rolling all
high
over the
dex.
place.
I thought you were
Oh
like
no,
a,
like I'm rolling, but like I need that really high endurance so that I have enough stamina to roll, and also so that when I put my shield up, I can tank the hit without taking a ton of health damage. Also, I need that high endurance so that I have enough weight available so that when I wear very heavy armor, I don't fat roll all over the place.
Yeah, I think my problem is that I don't think my build is well optimized. Like I'm still trying to play
I
like
don't, my
sword and
build is
board.
not optimized
Well,
at
no.
all.
I'm trying to play sword and board and
That's
with
what I'm
heavy
doing.
armor, and that's just not my style of playing in these type of games. So
Okay.
like, I think I just need to redo my build and be a little bit more aggressive. So
Go take a larval tier to Renala.
yeah,
Just
I
reroll those
put
stats.
150 some odd hours into it. My main was a lot of decks. Well, at this point, like I got a lot of everything,
Mhm.
but I never wear heavy armor. Like I roll with when I played it. I don't know. I haven't played it in a while, but I would roll with 2 rivers of blood, which is how I was able to kill that that boss that I forget her name that
Millennia.
everybody hates. Yeah, she's not that difficult. She just hits hard. She hits really hard. It's not like she has a complicated move set, right? She just hits really hard. And when she hits hard, she
Yeah,
leeches your
she
health into
leeches
her.
your health.
Right. So you just
Yeah.
can't get hit. That's why that one dude is just
See, the
walking in there.
problem is Micah. Micah, I'm not good at these games. And
Well,
I
look,
get hit
but
a
you're
lot.
but let me no. But you're good at Monster Hunter. Like I figured Monster Hunter would have prepared you to play a Souls
Look,
game.
the way that I play Monster Hunter 2 is all defense, dude. Like my Monster Hunter build is like I'm stacking full guard up,
Yeah,
full
you do play
offensive
Lance. You're
guard.
right.
I play
So,
Lance, so I do sword, I do my poke stick and my shield, and I can
so
do a power block, and my whole goal is to run up on the monster, poke it in the taint a million times until it dies.
So why?
And
So in Elden Ring, why don't you switch to like a strength build and use a halberd instead?
because I already been playing the game this one way.
I feel like halberd and shield would suit your style much better.
It's too late. Too late for me. I also really like the Bloodhound Fang.
I do
That's a
too.
fun
That was
sword.
also my weapon of choice.
It's a
when I
really
played.
fun sword. I've been going with that. So
Yes. Finally, Trey asks, "What's the over under that Square releases Chrono Trigger as an NFT out of spite to get money, or for both reasons?" Here's the good news about why that will never happen. They could never pay Toriyama enough money to allow
no,
that to happen.
exactly.
So
It's never going to happen. Fortunately for everyone. So
I'm beginning to think they will never re-release Chrono Trigger until. No, they will never do
They did it
it.
on the DS. They did it on the DS that
It's
one
not the
time.
same. It's not the same.
Yeah.
That game should get a full like remat like a
Give me
Yeah.
do it. Just do it in the fucking HD 2D style. It would be
Oh,
perfect.
that would be incredible. That's what they should do.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll
Yeah,
never
these
get it
big
because
brain
we don't get
ideas.
good things from Square. So.
Square Enix, pay me $1 million and I will give you all of my good ideas and leave the planet.
really, all Carrie would do is like they'd be like, "We're thinking about doing this," and you'd be like, "No,"
Yeah.
and they'd be like, "Well, give us another suggestion," and you'd be like, "Anything else?"
Yeah. Literally anything else.
It's like back and then back to the drawing board. Then they come to you, "Well, what about this idea?" No.
No.
Oh my god.
I mean, that's
Well,
half of what a consultant does any goddamn way.
good. They need to hire more of them then. And oust that president to be like, no,
Yeah,
full
look,
ahead to
Square
Bitcoin.
Enix. Square Enix. Flat fee, $1 million. I will be a on-hand consultant for, let's say, 6 months. And I will give you all of my good ideas, and I will tell you that all of your bad ideas are bad. And then you'll never see me again.
Well, that is it. Thank you guys for submitting your questions. Again, you can submit your questions in the Dense Pixels post office by going to densepixels.com/fans. You should also subscribe to Dense Pixels as well as all the other TNP studio shows wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. You should also go to youtube.com/densepixels and click the subscribe button and ring the bell icon so that you can watch this podcast in video format every week. And while you're on the internet, go to twitch.tv/densepixels and follow all of us as well. I am Dense Pixels Brad. Carrie is up, it's Carrie. Terrence is Apparition 410. Micah, not on Twitch. Or is on Twitch, but doesn't do anything on Twitch. So follow him if you want. But that's all you're going to see there. That's it. Thank you guys very much for watching and listening. We'll see you all the next time.
See ya.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.